Barbara, it's good to see you again here.
Great to be here. Thank you for the invitation.
Absolutely. On the ballot, voters are going to see your name next to a very high-profile pastor's name. Where do you differ from him the most?
Well, you just said it. He's a pastor. I have the most legislative experience than anyone on the ballot. So I can hit the ground running. This is a very, very huge district. It encompasses 8 cities, part of the heart of Dallas. It includes Lancaster, Cedar Hill, Duncanville, DeSoto. It includes Grand Prairie, Arlington, Cedar Hill, Glen Heights. So we have a lot of territory to cover. The good news is that people know me. People know me for my service on the Dallas City Council.
Sure.
People know me for my service in the state legislature. And so I have a record that is in full view in the legislature. So we differ because as much as I respect Mr. Reverend Haynes as a pastor, I differ because of my legislative experience that I can hit the ground running in Washington.
But you're going up against someone who is well known, who can probably, turn on his church and get people to the polls, and likely is going to have money. Where do you see a path to victory?
I see a path to victory as I always have in working in the grassroots. Reaching out to people, calling people, getting volunteers. That is my path to victory. People know my name, and I will make sure that people know that I am running.
You have served on Dallas City Council, you've been in the legislature. What do you want to do in Congress now?
There are many things, but the first thing that I will do in Congress is that we take an oath to the U.S. Constitution. That is where my allegiance will be, and once that is established and I take that oath, then my oath will be to the people to deliver on goods, services, as well as making sure that they are informed as what goes on in Washington. We have a lot of challenges because, as I indicated earlier, the district is so huge. It requires an individual who has worked in these circumstances, which I did when I represented West Dallas, which is one of the poorest areas of the district. I also had North Dallas, Oak Cliff, and so I am going to look and see what is it that's important to the people that I'm representing. Also, I already know that health care continues to be one of the huge issues. Infrastructure is a huge issue. The current administration has gutted the education department.
Right.
That will continue to be a focus, and making sure that because the district is so diverse and so huge, that I will appoint a district-wide committee to help me to be aligned with the issues that are important to them. Healthcare, I know in this word about affordability, the fact that people can no longer afford.
Yeah, let's drill down into that. If elected, what are the top 2 issues you'd pursue?
The top 2 issues is housing. You have the economy, economics. People are working longer, getting paid less. So housing, and it's hard because those are the basic things that people will rally around.
And what would that look like for housing, though? What would you like to see the federal government do when it comes to housing?
Well, the federal government did do some things because you had an agreement or a partnership with HUD that would provide housing assistance. You get vouchers, have an opportunity as long as you meet the standards of someone who qualifies for assistance.
Yeah.
That is also available. And then too, remember you have Fannie Mae where at point the people could get loans to buy homes, and that's dwindled down. So that is the focus: rent assistance, housing ownership, as well as making sure that people can pay for their mortgages. The federal minimum wage is $7.25. So you can't even, I like to say that I have a nephew, Aiden, that we go to McDonald's, and he gets a burger. He gets a quarter-pound burger. Well, by the time we finish that, it's almost $8. And then if he gets a McFlurry, you're going to add $3 or more. So if you're working at McDonald's even, or at fast food, or where the minimum wage is $7.25, you have to work an hour and a half just to be able to buy a meal at McDonald's. So I'm looking at raising not just the minimum wage, because we also have put in, even within the last years, there's pressure upon the private industry to have what's called a living wage. Some people have, in some states, will implement starting this year, they will have a minimum $15 hourly wage. So that is where I see us going with that.
Let's talk foreign policy for a moment here. Do you support sending the military into Venezuela or potentially into Greenland?
Absolutely not. Why? Now, I know that I know why we're there, based on the minerals and the resources and natural resources, particularly what Greenland has, the strategic location, which some say, particularly our president says, well, we need it for our national security. But it's really about natural resources and the fact that, you know, Venezuela want to take over the oil that's there because it's one of the natural largest reserves in the world. And so, no, I do not support us. We have allies. Greenland is an ally. They're part of NATO. And so what we're doing is we are going against our allies. Is that a good position for the United States to be in? It's not even about whether you love or support America. It's about our standing in the world, and that is not a good place for us to be.
Iran is teetering on the edge of revolution. Would you support the U.S. military
That is
potentially
just,
doing
well,
strikes
you know,
there?
this is all so new. It's mind-boggling that we want to police the world. And quite frankly, because I know that there's a protest going on in Iran, and they're saying that a lot of people have been killed, but you want to go and you want to invade, you've already taken over. When I say you, the administration, and it violates the Constitution. That's what we have to realize, that what the president is doing now, Congress or the Constitution does not give him the power to enact all of these national security issues, particularly to declare war. So what we're doing is, it is unconstitutional. Congress has not been advised as to what's going on in Venezuela, not in Greenland. In fact, some of his own party recently have come out and said they do not support us going against our allies. So no, I do not support that. Iran is a volatile issue right now. They have a nuclear bomb. That's the whole thing. They're trying to contain that. So I am looking at that really right now to see how that is unfolding, because that is a recent development.
Your positions, though, sound like America first.
Well, I'm not going to use that because that's what the president said, but I am certainly looking in terms of running on that in the philosophy that we don't try to develop allies and to respect our alliances across the world. So I am people first. I am always for the people, and what we have to do is learn to use our taxpayer dollars to benefit the people that we are tasked to represent, along with building alliances, because we have an alliance with people across the world, and we need to respect that.
Let me ask you about another hot topic right now in D.C. Should federal lawmakers be allowed to trade stocks based on what's happening in D.C., inside information they might have? Because it's happening all the time. There's plenty of social media channels showing that you can follow the stock picks of a certain lawmaker.
And there are reports that say that many legislators or lawmakers have done that. And the thing
Should
about
that be allowed?
I don't know, because if you are an individual, or you a company or person that works for a company that trades stocks, and you get inside information and you use that, you will face criminal charges. And so no, I do not support that.
Tell me where you are on the Democratic spectrum here, because progressives kind of run the day in the Democratic Party. Do you think the party's in the right place? Should it move more to the center, more to the left? What do you think?
I'm a Democrat, and I know there is some that say no labels, but I am a Democrat. I have not found myself gravitating to any particular wing of the party. I am there for the people. I will always be for the people and my constituents. And it's great to have those different opinions, opportunities, but I am a Democrat.
With at least 3 or so candidates in this race, the battle's going to be to get into a runoff. How do you push Freddie Haynes into a runoff?
Well, I'm really focused on turning out the vote. And however that falls, it falls. And so what I'm focused on is running my campaign, letting the voters know where I stand, and we'll see where that lands.
There's not much time left. We're
absolutely
40-something days away.
Well, actually, early voting starts on February the 17th.
Yeah.
February the 17th. So we're only about a month out from early voting. And so it is a large push. And most of it was really triggered because of the lawsuit that was filed when the Republicans in Austin and the redistricting.
Right.
So that triggered a lawsuit, and actually the Supreme Court did not make that ruling until December the 5th. The filing deadline was December the 8th.
Yeah.
So that
It's
really
fast.
pushed us into a shorter frame for campaigning.
There is growing animosity on the left about what ICE is doing in Minneapolis. Your opponent has called for abolishing ICE. Where do you stand on this issue?
Well, ICE is in these cities illegally. I fall down on the Constitution. And we have seen the results of them going into these cities illegally. The people there don't want them. The mayor, the attorney general in Minneapolis has said that they're going to sue, and they have sued the Trump administration. I am against any violence that violates the freedom, the First Amendment right, and that is what that's really about. And then to go in and just arbitrarily arrest people because they're out, go in and arbitrarily arrest people because you don't know if they're a citizen or not, because that's what they're saying that they're there for, to arrest illegals without any due process. I'm going back to the Constitution. The due process is what is being denied here. You don't even know who these people are. They're wearing masks. They're not even revealing their own identity. So who are there? Some reports that I've read is there may people, just people that they're not trained, they're not law enforcement, and again, they are there illegally. So I certainly do not support the infiltration of our law enforcement. There's not even law enforcement of ICE.
Would you support keeping the agency, though? Or do you want to abolish the agency?
Well, let me tell you, what has happened is that this is a result of some nefarious belief that these people are here and they are wreaking havoc and they're taking what Americans could have. The Department of Education has been dwindled down. Mm-hmm. It's a legitimate agency. It's a legitimate system. So if what ICE is doing, and as a member of Congress, I will vote to do what is the best for the people. At this moment, I would vote to abolish it, but I don't have the necessary information to say totally abolish it out of some knee-jerk. I shouldn't have said that, but it is. I don't know if that's the right thing to do. Until this previous time frame, you really didn't hear a lot about them doing these absurd things. So to abolish any agency without some due process, I would certainly look at that. Even as controversial as it is, I would certainly want to review, because maybe those people would disappear.
Barbara, it's good to see you again.
Well, good, and thank you for having me. And again, on March the 3rd, for Barbara Mallory Caraway, if you want any information, go to barbaraforcongress.com. The most legislative, experienced person in the race.